So picture this. It's March 2020. The world shuts down. You've just lost your job. The bills keep coming and your savings account, oh yeah, that's got like $63 in it. Now that's not a horror story. That was real life for millions of Americans. I remember I was there. No warning, no paycheck, just panic. So here's the question I want to ask today. If that happened again, would you be ready? Hey, I'm Jonah here. I'm with the Banking Bros. In fact, I'm one of them. And we're ready to talk about something that might just be the most important financial decision you make. You see, life is really unpredictable, isn't it? One minute you're cruising along, everything's great, and the next minute, bam, a flat tire, a surprise medical bill, or even something as big as sudden job loss. For many people, those unexpected events aren't just inconveniences. They're actually full-blown financial catastrophes. And they lead to frantic calls, sleepless nights, and often just a mountain of high interest debt that can honestly take years to get out of. Takes you a couple seconds to get into it. But what if I told you there was a really simple and powerful tool that can turn financial nightmares into just speed bumps on your path? And I'm talking about your emergency fund. It's your financial fire extinguisher, your unsinkable lifeboat, your absolute must-have for true financial security. And today, I'm going to deep dive into why this is so critical. And I'll talk about how much you actually need. And I'll talk about how I think it fits perfectly into what I like to call the save and spend system. But before we get there, let's go back. Let's talk about some lessons, maybe from 2008 or 2020. I think to understand the sheer power of having an emergency fund, you've got to look backward. I'm not talking about super far back. I'm just talking about far enough so you remember those truly challenging times. So let's go back to 2008. This was not just a blip on the economic radar. It was a massive earthquake. You had millions of people across America lose their jobs. Homes were foreclosed on at an unprecedented rate. The stock market tanked. Retirement savings tanked with the stock market. It was a period of immense fear and uncertainty. And a huge, painful truth emerged. A vast number of Americans were actually living paycheck to paycheck with virtually no savings to fall back on. When the income stopped, the bills sure didn't. People were forced into impossible situations. People drained their 401ks, which means they got penalties and they lost out on potential future growth. They maxed out credit cards, which just really means they got trapped in cycles of debt. Many people just lost everything they had worked for. And I think the sheer human cost of that economic downturn was amplified by the lack of personal financial preparedness. An emergency fund, even a small one, could have provided a crucial lifeline for so many people. So now let's fast forward just a bit to something a lot more recent. We all experienced this. 2020, COVID-19 pandemic. This was a different kind of crisis. It was a global health emergency, right? And it brought the world to a sudden halt. I remember watching a basketball game and they just nixed the thing right in the middle and said, everybody leave the stadium, the arena. Businesses closed, travel stopped, and once again, millions of people faced unexpected job losses. Or they just had their income significantly reduced. Or, again, if you got COVID, you just had unforeseen medical expenses. So think about it. One day, you're driving to work, and the next day, it's indefinite leave. Restaurants, entertainment venues, small businesses, there were entire sectors that were just devastated. And what did we see? It's the same heartbreaking story as 2008 for many people who didn't learn their lesson and weren't prepared. People are scrambling. They can't pay rent. They can't buy groceries. They can't keep their lights on. And again, the government was around for some of the aid programs, but they can't cover everything. And for many, the aid programs didn't even kick in fast enough. The pandemic was underscored once again that just these unexpected financial events will happen, and relying solely on external help just isn't a really sustainable long-term strategy. So what do these two profoundly different crises teach us? I think it should teach us that building a personal financial safety net isn't just smart planning. It's actually essential, and it's resilience in an unexpected world. An emergency fund is your proactive defense against the unexpected. It gives you the power to weather any storm. So, how much do I need? That's the $1 million question, right? Jonah, I get it. Emergency funds are important, but How much do I actually need? And here's the honest truth. It's not actually a magic number that applies to everyone. It's a really highly personal, based on your income, based on your expenses, based on your life situation number. Now I will tell you, the widely accepted golden rule and a really good starting point is to aim for 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses. And I do need to emphasize essential living expenses. This is not your entire income. This is the bare minimum you need to keep a roof over your head and food on the table and the lights on. So if you need help breaking down what those essential expenses are, I'll do that for you real fast. It's your rent and your mortgage payment. It's your utilities like electricity, water, gas. It's your groceries, and I'm not talking about buying Oreos. It's your transportation, like your public transportation or your gas to get to work. If you've got a car payment and you have to have that to get to work, it's the car payment. It's your insurance premiums like your health insurance, your auto insurance, your home insurance, and it's minimum payments on any debts you have. You got to keep those up, such as student loans and credit cards. And I've even recently added that maybe you should go look at the deductibles on your home and auto insurance, and that should be the figure that gets added to your emergency fund for those things. So here are some things that you can do to actually calculate your emergency fund. One, and this is really important, track your spending for a month. Really, just pay attention. I'm talking every coffee, every subscription, every bill. Use an app, use a spreadsheet, use a notebook. I don't care. Just track your expenses. Step 2, isolate the essentials. So go through your list now and then just ruthlessly, literally ruthlessly cut out anything that you could live without for a few months if it was truly necessary. So a lot of people have that daily latte, right? It's just not essential. Your mortgage though, absolutely. 3, sum those essentials. Add them up, right? Add up all the expenses for the month. And let's just say, for example, that like essential things is $3,000. Then you multiply. You multiply that monthly total by 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It just depends on your personal comfort level. So if you have a 3-month emergency fund and your expenses are $3,000, then your emergency fund should be $9,000. If you want a 6-month emergency fund, then your emergency fund should be $18,000. Now I get it. That number might seem just a little bit intimidating, especially if you're starting from zero. But remember, this is your goal. And I'm not talking about a sprint. It's not a race to get there. This is a marathon. Any amount you save is a step in the right direction. So what about 3 to 6 months? What about that part? How do you actually decide where in the range you should be? Well, let's consider some key factors to determine the emergency fund size. Are you in a highly stable industry with a consistent demand, or is your job subject to seasonal fluctuations or downturns? So here's my for instance. Like a tenured teacher might feel really comfortable with 3 months, while a freelance graphic designer or someone in a commission-based role might need 6 months or more to account for income variability. If you're a single income household with dependents, this number also goes up. The number of dependents you have probably makes your thing go up, right? If you're solely responsible for yourself, or do you have a spouse? Do you have children? Do you have family members who are also dependent on you and your income? The more people that depend on you, the larger your safety net should ideally be. If you've got more mouths to feed, more potential medical bills, more general expenses, you need bigger numbers and longer months. You can also think about your health and medical history, right? Do you or your family members have any chronic health conditions that could lead to unexpected medical expenses? A larger fund is probably more crucial there. Do you have other accessible assets you could liquidate in a true crisis, right? How liquid are your funds? So again, if you've got very low on the liquidity scale of some of your other funds, then you probably want more in an emergency fund. But if you've got lots of things that you can liquidate, then maybe having a few less months in that emergency fund would be cool. The most important thing to understand is just start the fund. Even putting away $25 or $50 a week can quickly build up a significant buffer. So don't let the big number just discourage you from taking the first step, right? Now, if you'd like to know what the biggest benefit is, in my opinion, it is unshakable peace of mind. So imagine facing like a sudden car repair or an unexpected dentist bill without panicking. Like, oh, it's okay, we've got the money in the fund for that, right? Knowing that you have money aside frees up so much mental energy. I think you sleep better, you make clear decisions, you feel more secure in your daily life, you have an incredible feeling of control, and I think it's huge. Without emergency fund, $500 on a car repair often ends up on a high interest credit card. And before you know it, the $500 problem's actually a $7,000, $8,000 problem because of interest. So I think your emergency fund acts as a financial shield and just protects you from that creep of consumer debt that can derail your financial future. I think that life offers unexpected opportunities too. Maybe your dream job opens up, but it requires a temporary pay cut during training. Or maybe something different, like an investment opportunity arises and you need quick access to cash, right? Your emergency fund gives you the flexibility to grab those moments without financial strain. And it also means if you lose your job or something like that, you're not forced to take the very first low-paying, undesirable job that comes along. You've got breathing room so you can find the right opportunity. I also think emergency funds help you protect your long-term goals. Without one, it often means you have to tap into other things to figure out the emergency. And if you tap into things like your retirement savings, which a lot of people do to cover emergencies, maybe you're triggering early withdrawal penalties or taxes, or most importantly, in my opinion, it just stops your earning and your compounding. It just dead in its tracks. So I think this fund, your emergency fund, can act as a bodyguard for like future wealth. It is that important. I think it ensures savings, whether you're saving for something big or retirement or whatever it is. I think it ensures investments just so they can grow without having to be interrupted. And it also really helps you break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, right? And this is a big cycle. You've seen it, you've heard it, you know people that live it. I think it just provides your buffer. It allows you to finally start building wealth rather than just constantly reacting to other financial emergencies. And essentially, that means this emergency fund transformed you from being a passenger on the seas of life to the captain of your own ship, right? And it's equipped with all the necessary safety gear. Here's key. This is a big portion of the video, so if you haven't taken anything away yet, take this away. And it is where to keep your emergency fund. Where do you actually put this money? I think it's crucial, and I think it needs to have lots of attributes about it. Very important attributes for an emergency fund: liquidity. It needs to be liquid. I need to be able to go get it fast, and it needs to be safe. So, high yield savings accounts. This is actually a super high top recommendation if you look online. You've got to look for online banks that offer these high yield savings accounts. Generally, the online banks are going to have the best rates, and it keeps your money separate from your everyday checking account, making it less tempting for non-emergencies, right? That's really, really, really important. Now, if you don't like high yield savings accounts, maybe you can look for money market accounts or CDs or something like that, but high yield savings accounts are a very, very good spot to put the money. I can also tell you 3 places where you should not keep the money. The first is your checking account. Don't do it. Seriously. It's too easily accessible. You'll be tempted to spin it. Second place, stock market. Too volatile. You don't want your emergency fund just shrinking by 20% when you need it most just because something happened that you couldn't control. In fact, I don't think you want a lot of your money shrinking by 20% because something happens that you don't control, but we'll save that for another video. And third, don't keep it under the mattress. It's not protected, right? There's no interest. Something can happen. The house can burn down. Somebody can come steal it. Once they figure it out, just don't do that. But I will tell you where my top suggestion is. I know I mentioned high yield savings accounts before, but I don't keep my emergency fund there. I keep my emergency fund stored in a whole life insurance policy, but it's a policy that was designed to store cash. The reason I do is because it offers me guaranteed growth, guaranteed cash flow, privacy, liquidity, safety, among a bunch of other things. And if you want to learn how you can do the same, you just check out this video. We'll put a link in the description and maybe we'll put one up here. So if you're ready to start your emergency fund, here are 3 steps to make sure you get this right. First, calculate your number. Write it down. This is such an important step. A lot of people like to skip it. Second, start small and start now. If you don't have an emergency fund, open a high yield savings account like I mentioned, or like I said earlier, just click the link in the description. You can talk to me about how to set up your whole life insurance policy to hold those savings. Then set up an automatic transfer, $25, $50, $500 a month, whatever, from where you get your money into the new account. Don't miss it. Put it on recurring. It will build faster than you think. Third, share your progress. Tell someone. This is important. Have an accountability partner. And if you like, you can tell me. I'd love to hear from you, right? What's your emergency fund goal? What's one step you're taking this week to build it? You can absolutely let me know in the comments below. And honestly, if you found this video helpful, then give me a big thumbs up. It honestly really helps the channel. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the Banking Bros channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Anyway, thanks for watching. Remember, your financial future is in your hands. So build your emergency fund, right? Build your financial fortress. Start living on your own terms. We'll see you next time. Peace.